Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Island. We're back with another review. So I have finished All of Us Are Dead, and this is going to be my spoiler review. So I'm going to be talking about everything spoiler worthy in this whole season. So if you haven't seen this show, please do click off now. This is your one spoiler warning. I'm going to be talking about everything in this show. The deaths, the characters, the scenes, everything. My favourite things. I cannot wait. But yeah, again, if you haven't seen this show, please do click off now. You got 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're gonna start off with this is probably my favourite K drama to date. Probably very, very close to Squid Game and Vincenzo. Vincenzo might come very close to this, might be joint with this, but this show is so good. And I'm going to categorize this. So I'm going to categorize this into the deaths. I'm going to talk about the deaths in this show, as well as my favorite scenes, and then as well as my favorite characters as well. Those are the important things in this show, the most developed things in this show. And if you want to check out, like I said, a non-spoiler review, you can check it out here. But let's go full spoilers from now on. Let's do it. So, the deaths. I'm going to be going through each death that happened in the show, each major death, talking about it, and give you my thoughts, basically. So, here we go. Episode 2 is the first major death, and that is, obviously the two girls that were best friends. This is the one that, it was emotional. It was emotional, and you see in Kai's reaction yesterday that he, like, you can tell that kind of emotion connection they had, because a lot of the scenes before it happened was them two just talking and being friends, and it was the first major one, and it did make you really feel like it foreshadows basically what is going to happen the rest of the show when you have a character like that who has probably had half of the screen time, if not more, those two characters for this show, and she is to go in the first 2 episodes out of 12. That is insane. And I did like how she was kind of holding on to her out the window. I thought that was a very nice touch. But anyway, episode 3, this is the painful one for me. This is one of the most painful deaths in this show. Episode 3, I'm going to give these people nicknames because 1, I don't want to butcher their actual names in the show, and 2, I think it'd be easier for you guys to understand if I give them nicknames. So the girl in the pink jumper, the one from Squid Game, the actress who is in Squid Game, her character was very, very annoying before this, and then she goes on to be so evil that she kills somebody herself by touching blood on their wound. It makes me pissed off still. Now, she later got what she deserved, even though her character started to come back around, but she basically got someone killed. She basically did. And this one, I was close to getting emotional on this one, especially when he turned and he kind of couldn't accept that he was becoming a zombie. But yeah, so that one hurt. And moving on, episode 4, the death of the scientist in episode 4. And I will say, this show basically has a key character death in most of the episodes, if not all of the episodes. There is one or more death in basically all of the episodes, which shows the sheer kind of weight of this series and how serious it is. For episode 4, Death of the Scientist, who created it, but it won't be the last time we see his character. I like how they did this. I like how he kind of got what he deserved, but he also came up in flashbacks multiple times explaining about the virus, so his character wasn't really needed going forward because he had all the stuff back on like the laptops and the videos he recorded with obviously his son and his wife. So I felt that was a cool way for his character to die, but then not die because he's still obviously around in the videos and stuff. So episode 5, this is the only one that doesn't have a major character death in the way of they stay dead or they turn. in the fact that episode 5 is, I'll get onto my favourite episode in a second, but episode 5, the white jacket guy, so the evil guy who has the one eye, he technically does die in this episode, but obviously the way that the virus mixed with his blood already starting to pour out, so the fact that he was already injured and the virus come in him kind of at the same time, I think is the reason as to why he kind of the virus at that point mutated, because it wasn't just a normal person getting the virus, it was somebody who was already injured, who had lost blood, who had maybe a different blood type, etc., which I will be doing another video soon, talking about the virus, explaining it the best I can, as well as ending explanations and stuff like that. So he is one of my favourite characters, and I will get onto that later. Episode 6 is the only one that really doesn't have a death in a way. It just has Prez, who is the girl who does get bitten. You can see the mutated eye that she has, which is a very cool character design. But she doesn't die, obviously, but she does get the same effect, or a very similar effect as the guy with the white jacket had. But obviously later on in the series, they are both defined differently. They are both, they are both kind of created a bit differently. He accepts the monster that he already is, but she doesn't, and that's why at the end of the season you see the shot with her kind of going off and meeting other people that she is like. Episode 7, the annoying guy gets again. This is the only episode that doesn't have a death as such, but the very annoying guy who basically, when they're on the roof, the helicopter comes, and he basically does almost get killed for being so selfish as say that there's no one else behind the door. A helicopter takes off and leaves him behind, and it's 10 times worse when he not only leaves them behind and tells the security team, or the CIA units, or not CIA, the special forces, that they are, there's no one there. He doesn't just say that, he looks at them and sees them calling for help when the helicopter's flying away. So he does it not once, but he does it twice, and it makes it 10 times worse. But I'm glad he dies later on. Episode 8, we have the teacher who goes out and saves the girl with a pink jumper, and then we see what happens to her. And again, she dies because she sacrifices herself for this character, and later on she starts to realise that she needs to be a better person, which I do like, but then she does get brutally killed, and we'll get onto that in a second. But episode 8 also, this is where, like I said, the girl in the pink jumper does actually die. And this scene is one of my favourites, where he's like, "Are you hungry?" She's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Me too." And then very brutal, but it was a cool scene. Not to see her die, but because it was a very, like, he is a very powerful person in that situation, and he uses it, and it later then comes up when he tells the guy the archery guy, and he says that he's full. Is a very nice parallel, that scene. I don't think, look, people can say that she deserved to die, and maybe she does. I think maybe she did, but she was kind of turning into a good character. I think she does deserve to die there, just because of the fact that he got her killed. She got him killed even. But then, maybe if she would have managed to sacrifice herself and give them food and water, then maybe she could start to make up for it. But I don't really think that she deserved to. But anyway, episode 9, where again the special forces who decide at the last minute not to take the school kids back with them, and this happens because the psycho girl who, I'll call her the psycho girl who has the lipstick and the one that gets bullied and has the writing on the back of her shirt. The reason that they don't take those back is because she eats person at the camp, which she is mutated, and there's a very small number of people who are mutated, but she is mutated because it's not exactly explained, but she is mutated because she should have died multiple times and obviously doesn't, and she basically goes through she basically goes through the examination as not having symptoms, but then also having symptoms, so she's half and half, which I love how they did that. It's very, very cool. So that's the reason why they get left behind. And the guy who does leave them behind, guy who, oh yeah, I got a little bit lost there. So yeah, the guy who says that there isn't anyone left, the guy I was talking about, the guy in the helicopter, he obviously dies in episode 9, which I'm glad. But moving on, episode 10. There's a couple. We have the guy in the wheelchair, the four guys who are the four guys who are very the two. Episode 10, we have a few deaths here as well, but the four, like the group of 4 people, the two with the bow, and then the girl who treats everyone like shit and smokes, and then the guy, the bigger guy who obviously got injured, he dies in this episode before they get into the sports closet. The girl who leaves behind her best friend also dies in this episode, which I'm glad, because they were trying to have a bond, and obviously it didn't amount to anything when you see your friend on the floor and you run away. And then the guy with glasses, man, he ran out like a champ. He really did. He was the reason why they managed to even escape out there. And that whole scene where they're like in the container when they're pushing out the gym hall was so cool. Episode 11, we had the guys with the arrows in a small group. So the group of 4, the two girls, and then the 2 guys, the ones with the arrows. He obviously dies, and he dies to the guy with the white jacket, which the scene I brought up earlier. This scene really does make me sad, but the dad went on a mission, and I think maybe he thought his duty was to save her after everything that he had to do, and he went on like a champ. What is really sad is the fact that Chung Sang, I believe that the main guy who was obviously best friends with the girl for like 12 years, I think he said, and obviously admitted that he liked her, and that was to me the saddest death this whole season. And when he died, I really didn't want him to die. He was one of my favourite, and he went out like a champ as well. He took down the guy in the white jacket, and the guy in the white jacket did get his eye before, so they are even. But then he obviously takes him down with him. The government, the CIA leader obviously kills himself, which is the end of episode 11, which is very sad. And you can really feel kind of the rawness of that sacrifice, if it was like the not sacrifice, the suicide that he obviously commits himself. Really was sad. And at the end, episode 12, we have the brother, which I thought was a very sad scene when he dies. Man, was very sad. Anyway, moving on from the deaths, we have my favourite scenes. I have gone back through this series and I picked out some of my favourite scenes. So the scene when they're trying to get the phone, when they had to jump windows and then had to go in and grab the phone, and you see the psycho girl there when she's smashing all the phones. That scene was really cool. One of my favourite scenes, one of my probably top 3 scenes of this whole show, is the library scene from episode 5. This is the reason why episode 5 goes on to be one of my favourites of the show. But the library scene at the start of episode 5 when they're having a fight, that was phenomenal. That was so good. In episode 6 when they're recording the videos on the webcams talking to their mum and dad, that was really good. Very emotional, but a very good scene. The scene when they're on the seat at the stairs and they're trying to stand and fight and wait to try and get outside, that was very cool because you had so many different things going on at once. The singing scene around the campfire in episode 8, that was really that was such a good scene, man. That's like on the levels of like Bella Ciao from Money Heist. The very sad but very well executed scene is where Cheong Sang sees his mum. His mum obviously works at the chicken shop, and you see her. First, he kind of sees her as his mum, and then you see obviously her as a zombie, and it's very emotional. Like I said earlier, that when they're pushing out the sports hall was really cool. The fire, the dad and the girl get reunited. That was a really cool scene, and probably my favourite scene, one of my favourite scenes is when Cheong Sang and Chiao Sang, I don't want to butcher his name, I'm sorry. Him versus the white jacket guy. Right at the end in episode 11, that was really cool. That was really cool. That was such a cool last stand scene. That was some of my favourite episodes, and then we'll get onto my favourite characters. So my favourite episodes, I've got two that stand out to me. Episode 5 was phenomenal. That the library scene, the fact that everything kind of just lines up, where they're trying to have some glimmer of hope, where the phone lines are up and he has the phone and he has signal and he calls and it gets cut off. And then also when they're on the laptop or the computer and they're trying to obviously look on Facebook and Instagram, and it's such a such a well done scene, just the whole episode, because everything it lines up and you can tell where they're at. So cool. And episode 11 is hands down my favourite episode. Episode 11 has 4 major deaths in this episode, and the deaths are so heartfelt, and there's so many cool scenes, and there's so many just like moments that are so good, you know. There's so many moments that are sad, there's so many moments that are worthy of kind of the show being as good as it is, and it really is. Before I end this off, because it's getting quite long, my favourite characters, like I said earlier, I love the variant people. I love the people who are variants of the virus, the way that they are human and not human, and some are more human and some are more monster or zombie. Like the guy in the white jacket is definitely more zombie and uses that to his advantage, whereas Prez and the who else got bit? So it's Prez, and the psycho girl. I call her the psycho girl, but because she burnt the school down and she was happy about it. Her and the guy in the white jacket obviously used the zombie more, which is why they're more related to it, and they kind of give in to the fact that they have to obviously eat people to survive. She was eating freaking goldfish, and he was just hunting on people because he was hungry. But then Prez is the complete opposite with that, but she's the exact same, you know. She doesn't give in to the monster, but she still is hungry. She just doesn't give in to it, and she fights to stay alive more. She basically fights to try and be more human than the monster, and it really is kind of just such a cool character to have, you know. And if you're wondering, by the way, reactions. So Kai, what's going to happen is Kai's going to do all of his reactions, and then when he has done his, I've already pre-recorded mine, but Kai wanted to do his first because he is the K-drama man. So I've already got mine done, but they will not be done until after Kai has finished reacting to the show. But yeah, and my overall favourite is definitely my man, the guy who definitely did not deserve to die, and I don't want to butcher his name, but Cheong San. I'm very sorry if I butchered his name, but he is definitely my favourite. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler review. I'm going to be definitely doing some more videos over the next week or so of this show. Cannot wait for you guys to watch it. If you have, let me know down below. Please do put a spoiler warning if you do, because otherwise I'm going to have to remove it because there's so many people that haven't seen this show yet. So please do make sure you put a spoiler bracket, or just put a spoiler warning and then put it underneath. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe. Take care. Peace.